Usually you can distinguish the phases in analytics quite clearly. So when we welcome our students here at Northeastern, so some of them are surprised that we're spending so much time on identifying the business question. So really the question that is driving all of that, what we are doing. We believe, we know that only a full understanding of the business question will allow you to direct any analytical work, any action that will follow out of that in the most appropriate way. So that is a very important stage in the phases of analytical work. And this is the first one where it really becomes clear that that interaction between the analyst and the business partner has that much importance. Because only out of this interaction, the communication, you're able to identify the question that really need to be answered, right?
Right.
So the second phase in analytical work is really about analytics, pure analytics. So there you operate independently from the business partner. You go into the programs, right? What program is the appropriate program to use, right? What visualization is the right approach that we need to choose? What predictive model we may like to use, right? What data do we have, right? Do we need to acquire data? That are all questions that the analyst is focusing on. And the third phase is then the interpretation. Again, you don't do this on your own. You do it in interaction with the business partner. You look into the data, you present the data, and you discuss how this might be interpreted in view of the business question at hand. And the last step is really then the action. And again, with the business partner, you go ahead and you present a suggested course of action. And together with the business partner, then you decide on the course of action that you undertake. So again, embedment of analytics into the processes will yield, based on our experience, the biggest success.
And that's the perfect world, right? Because sometimes the business partner don't know exactly what he wanted to ask, he or she. I mean, he has the data, he can be very vague. Oh, just tell me what I don't know yet. It's like, oh, then you as the analyst has to be, maneuvering to asking questions so that you can get more details of what you're really going to look at the data.
That's right.
Sometimes you can just put the questions, you're going to explore the data, you see what's there, and then you bring some questions to your business partner. Is that the question that you're thinking about?
Yeah.
Is that the topic that you're really thinking about seeing on the data? Because that happens a lot. It really happens, especially with the trend of data is there. They think the data can tell stories, but they don't know exactly what they wanted to know. So they just give to the analyst that job. Go there and figure out what the data can tell me that I don't know yet.
Yeah.
Right, and that's where a lot of the exploratory analysis and a lot of predictive analysis
That's
also
right.
come to place. So you kind of invert a little bit because you have to explore the data in order to come up with the research questions, since the business partner doesn't know exactly what it is.
That's exactly right. And you sometimes start a conversation where you believe you have the right question, and then you do some analysis, if you like. For example, in today's world, go into social media, unstructured text, right? And identify that certain observations that you might have had are not in accordance with that what you see in social media, posts, publications, and so forth. So in a former job that I had, so we used patient comments and caregiver comments, right, quite extensively to frame a business question. So are we really on the right track? So that goes exactly to that what you are saying. It's a combination of unstructured text, right? In this case, social media, patient support groups, for example, together with data that is captured on a more regular basis, in some cases on a daily, in other cases on a monthly or quarterly basis. So that combination out of those different sources will really help to not only frame the business questions, like you said, but also help us in different steps towards solving the business goal or business question.
And you're right, it's very true with unstructured data, because unstructured data, you have to really look at the pattern first to see what's there, and then realize, oh yeah, I think that is bringing me somewhere, and then you can frame a question to validate it. I mean, the importance of the question is that you can really validate it, your visualization, for example, or your analysis per se. Because answering the question, if you don't answer the question, or if that visualization that answers the question, then it's not correct.
No.
Then you really have to work on a different way to explain or answer the question.
But what is excellence in visualization? How would you define that? What is really excellence that you share?
It's a combination of the visual technique per se, right? Color, looking at color blind, and not having a very busy graph there. And it has to be easy enough to that you can understand in just 1 or 2 minutes kind of thing. You don't have to be that different. The data, it's important to have good legend, good title. If there is something that you wanted to call attention, you might put it a different font, a different color. But the most important thing is framing the question. If you're going to create a dashboard, have a question first. That's not going to be the title of your dashboard, of course, but that is what's driving that dashboard. Because you have a question and create a dashboard, and that dashboard not answer the question, that's not excellence, right? It might indirectly be answering the question, but you don't want that to be indirectly either. You want it to be very precise in that answer. But that is one thing that we go over the course, the data visualization and communication. How do you create good dashboard, right? With all the techniques that are there, which tool you use. We do exploratory analysis with Tableau because it's very easy, and it's actually you can create pretty beautiful and good dashboard, but not everyone have Tableau. So we have to also use free software to learn another tool to create those dashboards. But yeah.
So I was just wondering, so when you talk about the audience that is receiving those kind of visualizations, so what kind of differences may exist?
It does make a big difference, yeah. There is, every time you create a dashboard, you have to be thinking about the audience, right? Who is going to be seeing it? Sometimes it's very specific, they're very technical people, and then you know that you can go through trend lines, and you can do some box plots, some graphs that are more statistical because the audience will understand, and that's exactly what they wanted to see. Then if you're talking more about the layman, you tend to have simpler dashboards, they're easy to spot, and graphs, pie, or things that are simpler for the audience to use. And then when you know your audience is all the above, you just have to have different, diverse number of dashboards that it can tap in different ones. Yeah. And sometimes the dashboards are going to be relying on the same information, but one, it's simpler than the other to understand.